Comrade Bestie, are you all right?
Huh? Yeah, I'm fine.
You do not smoke when you are not stressed. And I heard you scream.
Just a nightmare. A bad one, I'll admit. But just a nightmare.
You know what the first thing I acknowledged was better in America than the Soviet Union?
I don't believe you ever shared.
The cigarettes. Soviet cigarettes tasted of gulag sewage. Not that American brands are any better for you. Both will kill just as easily. But in Soviet Russia, even the damned cigarettes reminded you of how pointless your life was. We did not exist to be happy. We existed to serve the communist machine, and within that machine, we couldn't even be allowed the privilege of enjoying our slow, self-inflicted deaths. But in America, your people somehow made everything more enjoyable, even a toxic roll of tobacco.
Surprised you acknowledged such things before you met me.
I already told you of my experience at the Berlin Wall. Silently questioning the state was, I suspect, far more normal in the Soviet Union than any would be willing to admit. Most of us did not live happy, fulfilling lives, but they were ours. And we would rather live a sad existence than not live at all. Perhaps that should be a new Russian proverb.
It's not like we were picture perfect here, especially in our efforts to stop communism.
So, it is what I thought. This is about Vietnam.
It was not what everyone thinks, but it wasn't good either. Korea was at least a success in terms of preserving South Korea's liberty. But Nam? We had no hope of winning. The enemy was within, and we were handicapped almost the entire time. So many dead, us and civilians, all because of two governments continually making mistakes.
I was not there, Bestie. But some of my younger sisters were sent to the North Vietnamese. What I have heard, it was not good.
No, it certainly wasn't. It's important to understand that, unlike what many think, we never invaded North Vietnam. There were bombing campaigns, yes, but American troops never crossed the northern lines in force. In retrospect, maybe it would have been better had we done that. A full, committed invasion of North Vietnam would have been impossible for them to halt, but the concern was foreign intervention. China had gotten involved in Korea, and the brass were worried either they or you would do the same in Vietnam. So instead, our job was to simply defend the South, which wouldn't have been the worst thing if not for the fact that the South was hardly united. Again, unlike Korea, which had some semblance of unity in their South, Vietnam was not stable. South Vietnam was governed by a complete buffoon who rigged elections and restricted religious freedom. Not things America stands for. The North Vietnamese government wasn't exactly moral either, but it was a case of neither side being good, except the civvies, the regular people, caught in the middle. Either way, their voices would be silenced, and there was no winning in that situation. But due to the instability, some in South Vietnam began to believe the North was the better option, and they began to resist. It was that group that was known as the Viet Cong. People who don't bother to read often conclude that the People's Army of Vietnam, the North Vietnamese's actual army, and the Viet Cong were the same thing. They were not. While the People's Army handled themselves mostly like a normal fighting force, the Viet Cong were made up of ragtag groups who had to get creative. They were supported by North Vietnam, but they did their own thing. And that thing was usually ambushes and traps. In a defensive war, normally you expect relative safety while standing on your own side of the battlefield. Vietnam wasn't like that. The Viet Cong were everywhere and could be anybody. They used the jungle to their advantage. They knew the terrain better than we did, and all the brass could think of was to just burn everything down. But this was going on in the South, the place we were supposed to be protecting, and it went on and on. The South Vietnamese government was useless in the best of times. Their own forces had little morale with such inept superiors, and we were restricted in what we were allowed to do. I lost so many friends, Olga. Daniel got caught in a spike trap. Walter lost his legs from a landmine. Most others were just shot from an enemy we couldn't even see. It was hell, and it was for nothing. Without being allowed to actually fight properly, and with a useless ally, we were finally told to leave, accomplishing only death. And the South fell not long after. They evacuated as many people as they could, but we failed. We suffered and died, and still failed. I still see their faces, all the time.
Bestie, your war may have failed, but your heart remained aligned. You were protecting people as best you could in a terrible situation.
I tried, but tell that to the people back home.
I did hear you were not greeted warmly upon your return.
The thing about freedom of speech is that even cruel words are allowed. The hostility was not as bad as sometimes portrayed. Some vets got spit on, a few shitty remarks, but mostly it was apathy. While the majority of us weren't openly abused, we weren't cherished or looked after either. No one cared about us, no parades, no thank you, nothing. We didn't exist. We were ignored. Drove a lot of vets to their graves. Self-inflicted. When the nation you fought for welcomes you home with cold silence, all that's left are the screams in your memories.
Perhaps a new American proverb.
Ha, maybe. Thanks, Olga. You actually got a laugh out of me.
I am glad I could help a bit. You know, you're not the only Nam vet here. Perhaps General Schuyler would be willing to lend an ear? Or Katerina?
I've thought about it, but, well, Schuyler's got her family stuff and leadership responsibilities. I don't know Katerina super well.
She is quiet, but very wise. I understand her Vietnam tour was, well, she will somewhat know your pain, bestie. Consider it? I can introduce you. She is pleasant.
I'll think about it. Thanks, Olga.
Of course, comrade bestie. Sun's coming up.
Yeah. Don't think I'll be going back to bed. You want to go out and grab breakfast?
Certainly. American coffee was the second thing I decided was better than the Soviet Union.
Oh, yeah?
Coffee was scarce for us, and reserved mostly for the elite. Regular citizens either had cheap tea or instant blends that tasted of Stalin's foot fungus.
Isn't having an elite class in communist society not how communism works?
See, this is why everything works so much better here. At least you all are honest about social classes.
And even the poor can get decent coffee.
God bless America.
Ha ha ha!
Look, I know it's a difficult topic for you.
You think? I already told you 3 times. My sister is dead.
But if you didn't see her body...
Damn it! What do you want from me? She's dead, blown up, murdered, and that's the end of it.
I really don't know what you expected. Magna has always been touchy about her sister's death. If she is alive, she doesn't know it.
Yes. Yes. Clearly. Just trying to piece all this together. Any details she can give about that day might help.
Do you want her to toss you through a wall? 'Cause that's how you get her to toss you through a wall.
Kika and Yulia are quite sure the mother is a mouse. We know it can't be Magna, so...
There are pictures of her sister's wreckage, though.
Yes. And... they were never heavily scrutinized until now.
They're fake.
No. The pictures are real, but... while they do show her sister's turret, the one she now carries, the rest is not her. It's loosely put together parts for a third mouse.
They faked her death.
Yes. Yes, it would seem so.
I heard her screaming. Is she all right?
Her pain flared up again. I gave her some more medicine. She is asleep now.
She will not last much longer. If she is to live to see our revenge.
Yes!
Ermin.
Did you finish?
Yes! Finally! I found them. All the remnant prodigy of those men.
How many are there?
Less than expected. There's only 2 left in Germany, but both elderly and without children. Probably not worth it. In France, on the other hand,
24?
All in the same vicinity.
a close family. Makes it easier for us. Prepare, little sisters. We're going to Paris.